Now we are going to install hadoop2 with JDK 1.8. Hadoop2 would require a minimum version of JDK 1.7 or greater. I have the softwares in my pen drive and I'll copy it to the Ubuntu download section. So I'm installing JDK 1.8 64-bit and Hadoop 2.7.1. I'm copying Hadoop 2.7.1.tar file and JDK tar 64-bit and sudo mode installation documents to the download section. I have opened the Unix terminal. And this is the sudo mode installation documentation. So let me create a directory user local Hadoop where I will extract all the required binaries. In case if you want to use any sh commands on Unix prompt, you use the command to be executed to install the sh client. So if you want to have your user all the admin permissions, we need to add one extra line in VS sudo file. So to open the VS sudo file, execute this command on terminal. And add this Hadoop all equal to all this line inside the Visio file so that our Hadoop user will get all the required admin privileges. To save the Visio file, you need to use Control X and Y to save and enter. Now I'll go to the Hadoop folder which we have created some time back, and then I'll install the JDK and Hadoop inside that folder. I have my JDK version in my downloads folder, so I'll copy that from the downloads. Hadoop downloads JDK 1.8 to the current Hadoop directory. I think it is failing as it don't have the proper permissions. So let me give the permissions and try to copy the file. I have copied the JDK 1.8 tar file to Hadoop directory, and now I will extract this tar file. Tar minus, as it is a CZ for tar file, you need to use tar minus ZXVF and JDK. So it has extract to the JDK 1.8 in the Hadoop folder. So just for comfortable, I will rename the JDK 1.8.0 underscore 62 JDK 1.8. So I'm using the move command to rename. JDK 1.8. Now I will copy the Hadoop binaries from the download section to Hadoop folder. Yeah, now I will extract the Hadoop zzip tar file. The same way we can use the same command tar minus zxvf hadoop to extract the binary. Now I'll create a Hdfs directory. So this is Hdfs directory where when you upload any content through Hadoop client, it puts all the data into this Hadoop data store directory. Just give the permissions to the Hadoop local directory for my Hadoop user. So now in bash rc file, I'll set the class path for JDK and Hadoop. So sudo vi tilde bash rc is the file where we can set the class path for Hadoop and JDK. So below the properties, I'm adding it in the bash rc file to set the class path. Use exec bash command to execute these changes. So now when I type the command echo $java home, it is able to recognize the JDK 1.8 path at wherever you installed on user local Hadoop JDK 1.8. Now we need to edit couple of property files in Hadoop environment. All the configuration files related to Hadoop will be available at user local Hadoop and in Hadoop 2.7.1/etc/Hadoop. If you go to cd to the etc Hadoop folder, where you can see multiple configuration files specific to Hadoop. Let me go to that directory. If you see, it has multiple directories like hadoop-env.sh, where it is the Hadoop environment file where you can set the JDK class path. And we have few more configuration files like core-site.xml. If you can see, this is the core-site.xml. So this file contains the properties related to generic properties related to Hadoop 2. And if you go to hadoop-site.xml file, where you can write the properties specific to Hdfs configuration, and you have one more configuration file called mapped-site.xml. Actually, it will have mapped-site.xml.template. This should be renamed to mapped-site.xml, where we can write the configuration related to the mapped. So normally Hadoop is divided into two parts. One is the storage layer and other is the processing layer. So storage layer information can be properties related to storage layer can be added in hdfs-site.xml file, and all the process related information will be added in mapped-site.xml. So in case if you want to add any mapped properties, first rename the mapped-site.xml.template to mapped-site.xml. And as we are working with Hadoop 2 using yarn, so we will have one more configuration file called yarn-site.xml, and this is used for yarn specific properties. So we will use the steps now to see how to configure these property files. Let me first add the JDK path in hadoop-env.sh file. So right now we are in the path in the etc/hadoop, where we have all the configuration files. First I'm editing the hadoop-env.sh, where I will add the JDK path. And these are the generic configurations which we add in core site.xml file. So now I will add the properties related to core site.xml. So in detail about these properties will be discussed in the upcoming sessions. For right now, to bring up the server, I will add the related properties in the respective XML files. So I'm copying the core site configuration file properties. The same way I'll copy the properties for the other configuration files. So below are the properties related to Hdfs, which is the storage layer. And below are the properties related to map.site.xml, which is used for the processing layer. So as discussed earlier, we need to rename the map.site.xml.template to map.site.xml and then copy the properties. So the processing layer internally uses the yarn, so that's why we are setting up the yarn configuration file. Now we have copied all the configuration stuff, and right now I'll try to bring up the hadoop2 server. Start-dfs.sh command is used for starting the storage layer. Before starting it up, we need to format the metastore layer where whatever the folder we have created with. If you see here, this is the Hdfs directory we have created, so and we need to format this directory, then only it can store all the uploaded documents through Hdfs client in this location. And so before we start the Hadoop, we need to format the Hadoop name node. Now the name node is formatted successfully. Let me try to start the Hdfs. So to start the Hdfs, use hdfs-dfs.sh. I think it is giving some problem permission denied for map. Let me give the execute the permissions and then run this command. As we have renamed the map.site.xml, I think it has got different permissions. So I'll try to give the permissions of Hadoop user, and then I'll try to restart the DFS. So below are the two commands to get permissions. Sorry, these are the commands to be used for permissions. Now let me try to execute the Hdfs command and see whether it works. So to start the Hdfs means Hdfs, this is the command to be used. I am running the command to start the Hdfs. So this will start the Hadoop name node and the data node. And JPS is the command used to see all the Java process related to Hadoop running on the system. So if you run the JPS command now, you can see that so there is some permission issue on the Hdf7 data store folder. So I have executed sudo chmod command. So after this, it is having permission. So now I will try to start the DFS. Now we can see that name node, data node, and second node are up. So initially I'm facing some problem like it is failing to create the Hadoop meta store directory. It's because that there are the permissions are not proper for Hadoop data store directory. So what I did is I have just executed the command so I executed the command sudo chmod 750 -r user local Hadoop. So that actually what happened is after I created the data store directory, I forgot to execute this sudo chmod 750 -r user local Hadoop, so that it did not give the appropriate permissions on the Hadoop data store directory. So that's why when it is executing the Hadoop Hadoop name node format command, it is not formatting properly. So once I have given the permissions, I have executed the Hadoop name node format command, and it is successfully created the meta store, Hadoop meta store. So Hadoop data store is used for the data nodes, and Hadoop meta store is used by the name node for storing all the metadata. So once these things are, after that I have used start-dfs.sh command to start all the name node, data node, and the secondary name node. If you want to kill any of the jobs, you can use kill all Java command to stop all the process. After you use kill all Java, then if you see JPS, it says that there are no Java process running specific to Hadoop. And if you want to bring back the name node, data node, and secondary name node, use the same start-dfs.sh command, so that now it can bring up a name node, data node, as well as a secondary name node. And it is writing the relevant log to user local hadoop/log/hadoop specific log. And in case of any issues, if any of the nodes are not bring up properly, probably you can traverse those log files. You can cat or tail those log file and see the abrupt exception, and with the exception track trace you can come back and fix the issue. Then you can try to restart the DFS. Chicken bowl. Now the Hdfs storage layer is up. Now we need to bring up the process layer. And the command used to bring up the yarn or the map reduce process, start hyphen yarn dot sh. As we are using the map read process using on the yarn framework, so you need to use start hyphen yarn dot sh to bring up the processing layer. Now when you run the JPS, you can see that the name node, data node and secondary name node are specific to data storage layer, and node manager or resource manager are specific to processing layer. And now you can see that if you want to access the name node web URL, it is localhost colon 50070. Once you access this, now it shows that at within your localhost on the port 9000, the name node service is up and running.
In next session, we will see how to install Hive in sudo mode. Thanks for watching.